And we need to do every animal in the family.
We'd like to call this commission regular session to order. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Dominic, Johnson, Williams,
Here.
Lynn, Bowman,
Present.
Baker, Lynch, Escaday, Thibodeau, Cox, Smith, Epperson.
Here.
We have a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you. Please stand for prayer by Commissioner Williams and pledge by Commissioner Johnson.
Can I go now? Wait.
Would please bow their heads. Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we come with bow down head and humbled heart. Lord, thank you for our rising up this morning, God. God, let this meeting what you would have it to be. Let it be done decent and order. Keep on our concern of all people. Father, we pray for our veterans. We pray for those that defend this country so we can have our freedom. We pray that everything be done decent here. We ask it all in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Let's face the flag and render the proper salute. Pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Didn't hear that, Mr. Bowman.
Under God.
There you go, baby. What are you going to go ahead and say?
I like to say,
I received.
You're right.
Found?
What you said was
Next item.
Do we have any agenda additions?
Ooh,
Agenda additions?
yes, I have one. Sheriff Prater has requested that we place Mr. Archer Friesen III on the agenda to be reappointed to the Caddo Parish Communication District Board.
I think that is already under our appointments.
Oh, it is?
We submitted a few weeks ago.
Okay, all right. Okay, good, thank you. That was it. Next item.
Next, we have citizen comments.
I have 2 cards.
I have one more here.
Citizen comments are made by individual citizens, and you are limited to 3 minutes to speak. First speaker is Ms. Simone Hennessy.
Madam President, is that under the public hearing portion?
Yeah, she does have the resolution.
Are you on the public hearings?
Yeah, she's on the resolution.
For the budget?
She can wait.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, wait.
She for,
She wants to talk on the budget. When we have public hearing on the budget.
no, she's not. She
not?
doesn't say
No,
budget.
she's here about the homeless
It
resolution.
says Homeless Awareness Month and Domestic
Resolution on
Violence.
We have a resolution?
Yes.
Are you here for the resolution, or are you here to speak? Okay. Okay.
It's coming. It'll
thank
be up. It won't be long, Miss Hill. You got some more. You got people to feed.
I'm reading a card. What a card said.
Really?
Next, we have Miss Erica Callius,
Calais.
Calais.
Which one you gonna pull out?
No resolution.
Hi, Erica Colley, 6121 Fern Avenue, Unit 64, Shreveport 71105. I'm here today on behalf of myself, Miss Ashley Dowry, Mr. Dan Keel, and Miss Candy Peavy, and the supporters of the animal welfare community. And we just want to come and say thank you so much for putting together the task force to update the ordinances and the laws. We're really pleased with working with you guys, and we're really looking forward to the changes. And to give you an update, we've met twice with the commissioners, and we've discussed several things, and we're really excited about everything that's going on. So we really appreciate your time and your efforts and the energy that y'all are putting to this. So thank y'all so much.
That's some good news.
Yeah, it's great news. It's collaboration. Secondly, we're going to Baton Rouge tomorrow to check out the shelter down there, the East Baton Rouge Animal Shelter and Rescue. And we're going to be meeting with their directors, and we're going to have a tour of the facility. So we're going to have a few of you guys come along, and we're really excited to tell you guys about what kind of plans they have, what kind of master plan they have that they're going to be adding in place. So, and Chuck Wilson's going to be attending as well. So we're excited to come back and give y'all feedback and tell you what kind of things they have going on down there, and to maybe implement some of those things up here. So we're excited to share that with you, and we are just continuing looking forward about the future that we have with working with our community and you guys. So and I believe a few of y'all are coming, so we're going to follow up with y'all about that afterwards. And those of you who are coming, if you have not received the email with directions, please get with me so I can send that to you for the airplane. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Here, I had another person.
Commissioner Bowman? Can't see my thing.
That resolution? Yeah, I'm on resolution.
You want to say something to
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Please come back.
Give a chance to use any more advantage over here. Right. Doesn't mean nothing. I agree.
Yes, ma'am. I
Yes.
just wanted to tell you, I guess on behalf of the other commissioners as well, and being chairperson, it has been a true delight and joy to work with you all, and I enjoy the advisory board committee. I know a lot of people probably thought that it would be tumultuous, to say, to put it in a nice way, but it's been good so far, and I hope to continue that we can continue to have the mutual respect amongst not only the animal shelter directors and the administration and the advisory board, as well as the committee.
Yeah,
So thank you so
absolutely.
much
Thank you.
for
Thank
all
you,
your hard
guys.
work.
Thank you, all of you. So,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you for heading it up. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, I have a Laura Timberlake.
Can you get Justin?
I was gonna say, no.
Honorable Commissioners,
Please state your name and address.
my name is
for the
Laura
record.
Timberlake, 3718 Dawson Road, Shreveport, Louisiana. During the season of Thanksgiving, something came to me to really thank this commission for doing what you can to care about the citizens all over Caddo Parish, but especially those of us who are on Dawson Road. We'll come to you before, we'll come to you again, but we hope we won't have to come to you again because we know you have our concern at heart. We're concerned tremendously about the safety issues that we are confronted with. We understand that there are over 1,400 gas wells in District 12 where we live, and of course, there are always things happening, so we live under somewhat constant danger, but we know that you have our interest at heart, and we appreciate that. Recently, we had a young lady to get killed on Dawson Road. She was run over. The road is narrow, but we are mainly concerned about the safety. People get sick on the Dawson Road. That's one way in and one way out. 50 years ago, we moved on Dawson Road. We were promised that Dawson Road would be opened to the Greenwood Road. Of course, it's still not, and it's on a section line. There are many, many residents on Dawson Road now. A petition has been compiled of the residents, but we know that you have our interest at heart, and we appreciate your considering seriously allocating whatever funds are necessary, because we've had to wade water to get out to go to work. We could not see the road, but we had to go to work. My own husband died of a heart attack. We believe because help could not get there in time, one way in and one way out. We ask that you would seriously consider opening up Dawson Road, whatever it takes. We are tax-paying citizens, homeowners, other property owners on Dawson Road. We do our share, and we know that you will. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Holy shit.
Next item.
Next, we move to our public hearing on Caddo Parish operating and capital improvements budget for 2014.
Yeah, she's growing up the way, man.
Anybody who would like to speak on the
Do
public?
we have anyone who would like to speak on Caddo Parish operating and capital improvement budgets for 2014? Anyone in opposition? Next item, Ms. Clerk.
That'll conclude our public hearing on improvements budget for 2014. We have no visitors. We move to special resolution. Resolution of recognition for Bishop L. Lawrence Brandon on his appointment as third presiding bishop of the Full Gospel Baptist Church International.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner
Everybody
Lynch,
second.
second by Commissioner Cox. Is there any discussion? Is he here?
We'll do it at the church.
Oh, okay. Please vote. Next item.
Next, we have a resolution declaring November as Homeless Awareness Month in Caddo Parish.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Williams, second by Commissioner Johnson. Is there any discussion?
You gonna read it? Todd? She's here.
Yes, sir, I will.
She want to speak?
Yeah, she does.
I like her.
Yeah, she's a
Get it done.
Proclamation of Homeless Awareness Month.
Damn.
Whereas America...
Please stand.
I'll read it, Todd.
Okay.
I'll read it. Thank you. To our Madam Chairman, Vice Chair, and to this body as a whole, Ms. Hunt, we'd like to, on behalf of the Caddo Commission, recognize this month as Homeless Awareness Month, and it reads, whereas in America, a country filled with infinite promise, continuing problem of homelessness is deeply disturbing, and whereas the most recent available data estimate there are 633,782 people experience homelessness in U.S. on any given night, and that more than 1.6 million people spent at least one night in an emergency shelter or transitional housing over the last year. Whereas the current economy, recession, and foreclosure crisis exacerbated the problem of homelessness, with the number of homeless individuals is projected to increase by 2% over the next year as the lingering efforts of the recession and constant budget cuts continue to aggravate deep poverty levels, and whereas an estimated 4,500 people experience homelessness each year in northwest Louisiana, and whereas the National Center for Family Homelessness reports that 43,430 children are homeless in Louisiana, and Louisiana ranks 48 of out 50 for the extent of children homelessness and 46 when measuring the risk level of families to become homeless. Whereas in 2012, Providence House served 980 homeless people, and 289 families, including 573 children and 283 adults, and could not serve 1,031 other families due to the lack of resources. And whereas in Louisiana, it takes a wages of $15 an hour to afford a 2-bedroom apartment, a 2 full-time minimum wage job for an adult. And whereas adequate permanent shelter is a basic need, and the absence has a deterioratory effect upon the physical and mental health, personal development, and the ability to exercise individual rights and obligation, whereas ending homelessness is critical to the vitality of our community, and we must commit ourselves to understanding the cause of homelessness and how to best serve those in the greatest need. Now for there to be resolved that this Caddo Commission meeting in regular and legal session, November 21st, does hereby proclaim November 2013 as Homeless Awareness Month in the Parish of Caddo. By it further be resolved that any provision of item of this resolution of the application thereof held invalid, such invalidation shall not affect any provision, item of application of the resolution which can be given effect without the invalid provision. Items of application and the end provision of this resolution are hereby declared surveyed that be further resolved the resolution that take effect immediately. Be it further resolved that all resolutions as part of their conflict I hereby repeal, attest, Lindori Baker, Caddo Commission, all the other commissions that are here soon. Thank you on behalf of all the people that depend on you so much that you never know where we may end up one day needing you. Exactly. We have a public outcry about a lot of things. There need to be a war on poverty and homelessness in this country. And we want to commend you for what you do with less. You do a great job. We appreciate you being in Caddo Parish. Thank you so much. God bless you and God bless America.
Commissioners Lindora and Commissioners, thank you very much for taking the time. As you know and as you heard, the issues of homelessness here in this parish and in this region is huge. When you think about over 43,000 homeless children in our state and the tremendous amount of folks that we currently serve, one of the things I wanted to make you aware of, or at least thank you for, is when I pulled my records and look at the support that the commissioners here that you've given us over the years. Since 1995, this body has granted us $192,000. Just in case you didn't know that over that period of time, the last number of years you have committed about $20,000 to us for domestic violence, and As you know, domestic violence is a predictor of homelessness. And so it is a critical issue, and I come to you as always, as you work on your budget, to remember those folks that have nowhere else to go and no safety to find. And I think most recently in the news is the young woman that was just recently found, we suspect murdered by her husband. And these things go on in our community all the time, and we need to be able to provide women and children and men an opportunity to have some safety, and that's the safety net that we provide. And I want to just read one story to you to just kind of make my point here on domestic violence. A young woman and her 5-month-old child and boyfriend moved here from California. She got a job. They shared a house. He had been verbally abusing her and physically abusing her for 2 years. He harassed her so much at her office in Shreveport that he was banned from their premises. And a couple of weeks ago, as she was leaving for work, he threatened her and refused to let her take her car. She left the house on foot. When she got to work, her manager called the police, and they took her to Providence House, to us, and she was subsequently transported to the Safe House. One of our legal advocates assisted her with a petition for a protective order, and the next day she took her file to juvenile court. The judge signed the order for the sheriff to assist her in retrieving her child and her car and her belongings and serve the abuser. Our legal advocate then took this woman to her home and met the sheriff to provide safety while she got her child, belongings, in her car. At the home, it took 7 deputies to remove him from the premises and to protect her.
Wow.
Temporary restraining orders are legal documents. The most important thing that we do at Providence House is educate the public in the importance of not only doing temporary restraining orders, but at the same time a safety plan, being able to provide, because I will tell you that the police cannot protect survivors all the time, so it takes their part as well. We have a hotline, and I always encourage folks to use that hotline, which is 226-5015. It is not just primarily for safety. It's for advice, it's for direction, it's for helping people fill out safety plans over the phone if they don't want to come in. It's for if you observe a domestic violence dispute, that you call us if you don't want to get involved, so that we can let the police know. So it's there for many, many reasons. If you have a friend that you suspect is in that situation and just need to talk to somebody about what you've seen and heard, call us. That's what we're here for. And so again, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to our concerns and for the proclamation on Homeless Awareness Month. So I want to thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cox?
What you do is real special, and it has to be a hard job. I could not imagine what you see in a year's time or over the lifetime that you've been there, what you have seen and heard. And domestic abuse is not only man on woman, it could be woman on man. And
Absolutely.
you have seen that as well.
Absolutely.
To do the job and to let people be aware of there is options.
Absolutely.
You don't have to live like that. And the lady that they found her, my son worked with her. And so they're dealing with that right now. So we need to do everything we can to get the notice out to Caddo Parish residents that they do have options. You do not have to live like that. Will it hurt? Yeah, it'll hurt for a while, because anytime you break up a family with a child, it hurts. And you're always asking in the back of your mind, should I have stayed, or should I stay? And the more we can help your program get out, that gives family members a way to go. And I just applaud you for everything you do. Thank you.
No, thank you very much.
One more, so a couple more. Commissioner Dominic?
Ms. Hennessy, we appreciate you coming here today. I appreciate Commissioner Williams taking the lead for the proclamation and resolution today. Just echo what Commissioner Cox says. You're doing a wonderful job, and you and I still need to get together because we really
Indeed.
would like to try to promote the things that you're talking about in the rural areas. It's so much
Absolutely.
times we hear about it in the city, but it can happen anywhere to anybody.
Any race,
And,
creed, color, doesn't matter.
That is correct. So I know you're doing a great job, and we appreciate you coming here to tell us a little bit more about the homelessness and the domestic violence issues. And I know that all 12 of us will try to do our best to promote that issue, to notify our constituents and residents in Shreveport and Caddo Parish of the things that you have going on. And we just thank you for all your hard work that you've done for the individuals and citizens. It's not just Caddo Parish, it's our surrounding area that the Providence House serves. So I don't know how many parishes it is, but
We serve four parishes right now and have rural outreach in, I think, both Red River and Webster right now. And so we're trying to extend our reach and also be able to provide the rural areas a way to get into us. And I will tell you, the police and everyone have been very, very helpful, but it takes all of us, our eyes and our ears, watching what's happening around us.
And you know, the other thing, when I first got on the parish commission, I came over there and took a tour of your facility. So I would encourage Commissioner Bowman or any of the newer
Absolutely.
commissioners or any of the commissioners that want to go by and just take a tour of y'all's facility to see what you have there. I mean, it's a great facility, but
It is.
always, use some more things. So there's a lot of great things y'all do over there. So
Thank
appreciate you.
Well, right, we're the largest safe house in the state, and right now we are full, and that is a lot.
And when you have children there, it just makes
Well,
it,
and the majority of all the population we serve are children, and, the challenge that I think that we all face in our own families is our children are going to grow up to be just like us for bane or blessing. And so changing that environment and changing what they know right now as being normal is critical to really kind of break that cycle.
Commissioner Williams?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I think it's a shame that you have to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes to really understand what they're going through on that situation over there at your facility. I know maybe several months ago, a young lady got killed in my district because of domestic violence. We did a march, and we wanted to start a campaign called Cease the Domestic Violence by Breaking the Silence. Because most of them are afraid to go and tell the police because their abuser is threatening to kill them.
Exactly.
And we got to find a way to encourage those families to speak up. Don't harbor people in their family when you know they're abusing your loved one. So how do we trying to find out how do you break that cycle of being quiet? I know the hotline helps. It's a great tool to use, but we got to find a way to cease the violence by breaking the silence. Got to find some kind of national campaign. Maybe we can get that out in the community as well. So it's a serious national epidemic. It don't just manifest here in little old Caddo. Some of our own families probably deal with domestic violence, even up here. Nobody's immune to this situation.
No, absolutely not.
So it don't matter who you are, what you represent, or what your title is. We all have it somewhere within our district or in our community that deal with domestic violence. Until it hits home first, then we want to get involved. But we should be trying to provide preventive ways to avoid these catastrophic things from happening. And then we have to a bunch of tears and a bunch of snot nose and crying. Well, we should have been proactive in avoiding that from happening. So hopefully we can start some type of campaign, especially in my district. Where a lot of times the word don't get out to the masses down low.
Right.
Because poverty also brings on people discriminating against you. Because you're poor, people discriminate you and treat you any kind of way. So hopefully we can work on getting that word out to the masses in the community. Thank you so much for being one of 1,000 points of light. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Epperson?
The House passed H.R. 2216, Veterans Affairs reappropriation, fiscal years 2014 and 2015. You familiar with it? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. There's going to be a provision in there through 2015, I think, up to $1 billion for homelessness for veterans and their families.
Right, and they've seen I saw an article this morning in the USA Today that they've seen a dramatic drop, about 25% drop in homelessness as it relates to veterans, and I think that's because that money has been applied in that area to be sure that that's being addressed for those who have fought for our country and deserve a decent quality of life.
Right. Just want to make sure maybe, you know, maybe some grants in there that you
Right.
can apply for. I know you say you're full, but, you know, we're looking
Full of
at
people,
every-
not necessarily full of money.
No, not money. I know that. Nobody's never full of money. Don't quote that.
I'm gonna start sending the hat around here.
That's all I have.
Commissioner Escaday?
I want to thank you for what you do too. I was researching some data online about just homelessness in general yesterday, and it's still estimated that 18 to 20% of all the homeless in this country are veterans.
Yes.
It's a huge number. It's also estimated that 50 up to as many, maybe as possibly as many as 50% of these homeless people just need their meds.
Right.
You know.
We have a very broken mental health
Well, that's where I was
system.
going. The state has cut back what it's done with mental health issues so much over the years that, you know, I realize you can't make them take their meds, but if they're available, and a lot of it is just medication. Therefore, you know, because you hear people make the argument, well, they're homeless by choice. They're homeless by choice. You'd say that if they were thinking rational, but if they're not on their medication, they're not thinking rational. So I think that effort kind of segues into the domestic abuse aspect of it, that, you know, if we have good counseling from school all the way up through life, and you have to start at the school levels that deal and identify with mental issues, you may not have this domestic violence issue as great as it is. I think that also, correct me, like 2/3 of all the homeless women are victims of domestic abuse.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
So it's just tragic. But I want to commend you on your efforts, maybe that we just need to be more vocal about it. Maybe as a parish, as a community, as a citizen, as Commissioner Williams said, getting the word out. You know, everybody, most people have a passion in life, and I know one thing. Yeah, starting from small groups, the Komen Foundation, the breast cancer group, you know, they get all the attention because they're out there in mass voice. Look at the dog, the way it's more important in Caddo Parish the way we treat our animals, with a small group of vocal ladies who are dedicated to their mission, and I agree they have a point, but they have a larger voice than we're speaking out to homeless and battered women and children. Where are our priorities? So, you know, I think if we get invested in this and just start like Crazy George in the Shoetown commercial, beating the drum and getting the word out there, and if we could put that kind of energy and passion behind this, then we could do something. Because I certainly care about my animals, but I care about people first and foremost. And lastly, I want to thank you being active on the Caddo Common Management Committee and all that you've been very cooperative with our plans for development in that area, and to include Providence House as part of development and revitalize, rather not just relocate you and put you away, but make you part of that community, and you've been helpful there, and I appreciate your cooperation in that aspect.
Indeed. We want to be good community citizens, and that's part of what we teach our families that we serve, is how to be productive citizens as well.
You never know, I may need you one day, I ain't gonna forget.
Okay. With that, I'm gonna stop because Ms. Baker just passed me a note that said I didn't take my meds either. No.
I must didn't take mine. You take mine too?
No, I didn't. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we move to communication, committee reports, administration response to information requests from commissioners.
Okay, I just have one thing, Dr. Wilson, on your letter.
Yes, ma'am.
It's got December 18th, that's the Wednesday. So I think you mean the 20th, or you mean Wednesday?
18th. That's the available date they gave us.
Well, you said
Friday.
Wednesday, December 8th. I mean, you said Friday, December 18th, but Friday is the 20th. So is it Wednesday
Okay,
or
I'm sorry,
Friday?
it is Wednesday.
It's Wednesday?
Yes, ma'am. We initially had the 13th, and I
He was thinking about moving to Caddo, he got off.
Okay, so it's Wednesday, December,
Okay, I'll send by the email.
it's
I do
Wednesday,
apologize.
December 18th.
Yes, ma'am, it's Wednesday,
Okay.
December 18th.
All righty,
Okay.
we got a line of people here.
Ms. Baker, we have two guests who would like to.
Wait, first we have communications, then we'll go to you.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Dominique?
Oh, I did
just want to let y'all know I passed out I had a constituent that wanted me to pass this out to everybody concerning renaming of the North Caddo Medical Center, but that's not our hospital. It's has to do, the hospital board would do that. I just passed that out, and I did ask our assistant parish attorney to find out the legal issues to do that, because I don't think they can name a public building after someone until they pass away anyway. So, anyway, I don't think we need to do any action. I just wanted to be sure and hand it out. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Epperson?
I'd like to delay the report relative to the Veterans Parade and honor ceremony until our December 5th meeting, because I want to invite the committee members to the parade.
That sounds good.
And also, you know, I had spoken with Mr. Wilson as well as some of the other governmental entities in Caddo and Bossier for us to have a government night at the Shreveport-Bossier Mavericks. And the public relations office called me with a date in December, Saturday, December the 21st, and offer general admission ticket to us and employees. They would discount it to $9, and if we wanted box seating, they would discount it to $15.
Oh, yeah.
So if that's something that we want to do either way, Mr. Wilson, and I told him, you know, that would include, I mean, voluntarily, of course, you know, all employees of the parish. And where we could, and I've also, will be speaking with Bossier Parish, Bossier City, and the City of Shreveport, as well as the some of the state reps may be interested in too. And we thought if we could bring it to fruition, we may have, see can we get at halftime, free throw shooting contest among the different government entities or something.
Still got it. I get in there.
Commissioner
half
Epperson,
court.
will you go ahead and get that coordinated through administration, and then send an email out to everybody about it?
We got you 2 free throws. We'll take on.
That's all I have.
Give us one more.
Commissioner Johnson?
Against
As I mentioned Monday, I'm gonna have a affordable healthcare meeting November the 25th, Southern University, at 6 to 7:30 at the Jesse Stone Building.
Commissioner Lynch?
Yes, on Monday, I pulled 2 items from the agenda relative to the GM plant, primarily because I'm happy that we are at least verbally and tentatively moving toward a compromise final deal that will include a significant job guarantees and no liens on the GM property. That's welcome news, at least to me, that we're moving toward a compromise in addressing what has been for me a key issue in that whole deal, which is the guaranteed creation of a specified number of good paying jobs. And right now, these assurances that I've been given are verbal, and to the extent that you can believe a lawyer without getting anything in writing.
Watch out now.
Don't do dumbly.
I'm waiting on the written details, and I'm hopeful that we can eventually get to a point of making major job announcements early next year. But in the interim, I want to continue to say to those former GM workers, folks that are unemployed, underemployed, those people that want a better life and a better quality of life in Caddo Parish. I'm going to continue to fight for them, for those jobs, and for economic development and for economic opportunity as we go forward. And so we're just going to continue on, and hopefully we'll have good news soon. Thank you.
Commissioner Escaday?
The Capital Projects Committee will meet immediately after this meeting to finish our work for the budget. I appreciate all committee members and anybody else who want to attend to please attend. It won't take long. Thank you.
Commissioner Cox?
To Mr. Wilson and the lady that came up here earlier about Dawson Road, I believe that's in your area? Ken's area. Have we ever had a study done on this before, or is the road that she's talking about going into Greenwood Road, is that into the city road area, or?
Point of information.
Yes, sir.
I have a handle on that, Mr. Cox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been through administration. It's fully in the parish. I'm well aware of what's going on there.
Okay, so you can fill us in later?
Pardon?
You can fill us in later?
Yes, sure will.
Okay, because they seem like they were pretty sincere. Okay?
I know.
Okay.
Like Abraham Lincoln said, tar and feather on the rail out of time.
I appreciate your effort, and if you can, just give us an update via email.
All right.
Thanks, sir. Ms. Lynch, when are we going to present that to Bishop Brandon?
Sunday,
This Sunday?
yes.
Morning or afternoon?
Morning,
Okay.
11 o'clock
Go
service.
put your hallelujah shoes on.
Baby, I've been there before, ain't no problem.
All right.
Also, I'd like to send our condolences to past President Mr. McLeod with the Police Jury Association. His wife, Patsy, passed away, and if you could put your thoughts and prayers into the McLeod family, sure would appreciate it. That's all.
Thank you. Commissioner Williams?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to announce that last night at Southern University, I attended the Swag Nation USA, another graduation of turning young boys into men. It was very well received by the parents. The local staff there has been very supportive at the school. And I'm excited to see young men going out into the community being productive. And there's going to be an aftercare program. We'll have to go back and give some during the holiday to a nursing home or some school to give back. We got to understand, they can't just take. We got to learn to teach them how to give back. So I was excited to know those young men that are not in our juvenile justice system, and hope that we can keep them out. Hope we can keep them out of the juvenile services, because we do know it costs $87,000 just to lock up one individual in a prison system. So we can provide any preventive mentoring and programs to keep them out of the prison system. I say tax dollars are well spent. And I was very excited to witness another great graduation last night. Thank you.
Commissioner Epperson?
No, ma'am, I finished.
Oh,
I
you
just
finished.
want to ask
Okay.
Carter's question.
Now we're up to administration report.
Yes, ma'am. President Bacon, Commissioners, we have invited two guests, Mr. Mike Woods and Mr. Jeff Sibley from the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife, to talk to us about the Giant Slovenia plant and their efforts in our area lakes. So, Mr. Mike Woods, would you come forward, please?
He
Drove in from Baton Rouge to talk to us about the Giant Slovenia plant issue.
My name is Mike Wood. I'm Director of Inland Fisheries with Wildlife and Fisheries. And I don't have a prepared speech at all. I don't think I need to explain to you how bad this most recent invasive that we have is, Giant Salvinia. It's one of several that we've endured over many years, all the way back to water hyacinth, which we started at the turn of the century, which was a Brazilian plant. This is a plant just like some of those others that was very pretty, and it was stocked into water gardens. It's still available to water gardens throughout the country. You or any of I can order it and still stock it. And so we face this as a multi-million-dollar problem. It's certainly many times that in terms of recreational benefits lost, and we are very much concerned about what the next Giant Salvinia is. In your area, northwest Louisiana, you're particularly plagued with these problems. And I spoke not so long ago with a group from Lake Bistineau about why that is. Certainly some of the residents of Bistineau and some of the other, what we call swamp lakes, the lakes that have beautiful cypress trees, are also very similar in habitat and unfortunately very conducive to this plant. This is a floating fern. It's one that does not manifest as a terrible problem in a lot of the other lakes that we have at Toledo Bend, for example. We've had it for almost 20 years in Toledo Bend, yet we don't have it as a problem in Toledo Bend except in areas that don't have wind flow and wave action. Unfortunately, a lot of the swamp lakes, a lot of the lakes that have a big canopy of cypress, the beautiful cypress trees that we have, don't have a lot of wind action. Wave action does not kick this floating plant up onto the shoreline. And so it's a problem we're going to be faced with, I'm afraid, for quite some time. We've learned a lot along the way. It's one, I have to admit, that we underestimated early. I think we originally thought that we might be able to spray the plant with herbicides into submission like we'd been successful doing with hyacinth and some of the other plants. That's not the case with this particular plant. It has the capacity to double in coverage under ideal conditions in just a matter of 2 weeks or less. And so it's a particularly bad plant. It's one that we've dealt with. We've improved our approach. In other words, right now, instead of just herbicides, right now we use Salvinia weevils, which is a biological control. We also use water fluctuation and any other type of measure that's out there. We continuously monitor that, or we evaluate that to see if it's successful. So with that, I mean, it's just an overview. I know I'm telling you things you already know, but my primary purpose here is to be available for your questions and concerns.
Okay, Mr. Wood, with the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, is that where you're from?
That's correct.
Okay, we have some commissioners. Commissioner Williams.
Thank you for coming to our parish. We welcome you here. Probably don't get up in Northwest Louisiana that much.
Actually, I live up here. I'm a transient. I spend 4 office days a week in Baton Rouge, and I live in West Monroe.
West Monroe.
Yeah.
They didn't ask you for your residency when you moved, when you had for the job. Huh?
I kept that a secret.
But we thank you for what you have shared with us, and I think we know pretty much about some of the things you have shared with us. I was just wondering, are you open to innovation and change in the approach on how you look at how to fight this plant? Is the state only state contract only limited just to spraying, or are they open to other ways, multi-dimensional ways of dealing with this problem?
Any potential measure that can be effective, we're certainly wide open to evaluate it, and if it's determined to be effective, then we're certainly open to using it. The key is it needs to be effective. In other words, what we'd like to do is, if there's a proposal, we want to make sure it's at least as good as what we already have available. As stewards of government funding, we owe it to the folks that are paying their way to spend their money wisely. And so if we have something that can do the job at least as effectively and economically, absolutely, we're open to that.
Well, I'm not intelligent enough to speak about this machine. I'm allowed apparatus. Maybe Commissioner Cox or some other person on the body can elaborate more about this equipment we have here in North Louisiana. I think it'd be something that you could take back to your body and maybe look at how they can incorporate this into fighting this plant in a multi-dimensional way, not just spraying, because eventually spraying will get to a point where our water may become unsafe down through the years, because we can't spray our way out of this situation. I know the cold helps. I know there are certain fishes and weavers, but however, there is another way, along with that way and this way, a combination approach, I think would be a greater approach to innovation. So if any other commission could explain this other technique that we're using up here, I would allow them to do that at this time. Thank you.
Okay,
Cox, you know a little bit more about it.
what do I think Commissioner Williams was talking about? We did have a gentleman came here a few months ago concerning a mechanical harvester. And I think we did receive a letter back from the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries indicating that that was not efficient. And I don't know, I think Commissioner Williams' question is, because we know about the weevil situation, we know about the spraying situation, but is there some type of mechanical harvester that would do a better job? Have y'all been able to fully test those issues and look at all of the mechanical harvesters, or is there something being worked on as far as something type of mechanical machine or apparatus that could hopefully alleviate this problem?
I think I know what you're talking about. It's called the water mower, and I do remember a letter from Dr. Wilson with regard to that in June of 2012. And my response to him was that we would evaluate it, just like I told Mr. Williams here. And we did have an occasion to do that. Mr. Bork is the inventor of the water mower, and he finally agreed to have a demonstration in which we did that on Lake Bistineau, and we evaluated it, and the benchmark that he was to achieve was to prove that the machine was at least as efficient as one of our spray crews. We have spray crews, they spray herbicides, and so he agreed that would be a reasonable comparison. For comparison, one of our spray crews can spray 25 acres a day at $73 an acre. And so Mr. Bork agreed to demonstrating his equipment to the extent that he could prove that he could be at least that effective. We did the demonstration in April on Lake Bistineau near the state park. The demonstration was to originally have been conducted in 2 sites. Salvinia, unfortunately, doesn't only grow in open water. In fact, it primarily grows in some of those areas that are very difficult to reach. Mr. Bork's craft is very large and would have trouble accessing some of those areas. So from our concern, he agreed to do it in an area of his choosing and an area of our choosing. The area that he demonstrated on was at the Lake Bistineau State Park campground, a wide open area. The demonstration site was 4 acres of salvinia. Mr. Bork started operating his equipment, and within 5 hours he had only been able to chew up or mulch 2 acres of that. And so from that, that was a little bit disappointing in our regard, because we obviously would certainly like it to be a more and better and economically effective machine. When I talked to Mr. Bork after that, and he declined going to another site that, of course, would have been more difficult because of closer trees, shallower water, and stuff like that. So later, we still, at the request of some folks that thought we weren't giving Mr. Bork enough of a chance, we offered him a job, a contract on Black Bayou at Benton. We had a 40-acre tract, and there was sometimes delays and with regard to trying to set up the contract. But when we got down to it, Mr. Bork declined to operate the machine, citing the fact that the water was too shallow and he didn't want to be responsible for areas between the trees. So we were back to our original concerns. We did generate a report from the demonstration that I was talking about on Lake Bistineau, and I'll be happy to make that. I'll send that electronically to you if you like. I can submit it, hard copy. I have one copy here if you would like that. Unfortunately, with regard to that equipment, it was not, at least in its current form, what we would look for as being more effective nor economical than what we already have.
Mr. Wood, we still have some other commissioners, but I think that'd be a good idea if you could give your hard copy to our clerk before it's over with. And we would definitely like the email copy to our administrator so that each of us can have a chance to review that, peruse that. Commissioner Johnson? Are you through, Commissioner Williams? I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, pretty much he stated
on your parade.
Appreciate, at least you gave the gentleman a opportunity
Certainly.
to make a presentation to you. And, I think with a little more know-withal, a little more maybe mechanical creativity, maybe had a wider way to do it. I think it can be very something rewarding for the state as well to still utilize them in some capacity, maybe at the edges of some, around people, multi-million-dollar homes or whatever. But I can see them being used in some, maybe not in the open, but somewhere around the edges of the lakes and the rivers in our community. I think that could be a way that he could be used.
He has a standing invitation to demonstrate the equipment. However, there is the one condition. It has to be at least as effective as the equipment or means that we already have.
It probably needs some more research and technology, and maybe he needs some more of that. So.
I was very impressed with the equipment itself. It's very impressive. Obviously, he knows what he's doing with regard to putting stuff together. Unfortunately, the application of it in the water it's not there yet.
Right.
It's possible that he may be able to refine it and come up with something better.
Thank you. Okay.
Commissioner Johnson?
Mr. Woods, thank you for coming up to Shreveport to talk to us. You mentioned some of the area lakes. What's the plan for Cross Lake?
Well, right now, the plan is to assist the Cross Lake folks that you have with their needs. We are it's a constant offer of technical assistance or anything we might be able to do. I know that you have contractors that you have spray, and you have folks that you have under your employment that direct those. This year, they asked for help, and we certainly were happy to help. We sprayed over 1,000 acres through contract of giant salvinia. I know that we made some weevil releases also through Cross Lake. So it's as far as we're concerned, it's not just the city of Shreveport's lake. It's a lake that's open to residents of the state of Louisiana. And so with that regard, we're wide open to anything we can do. Our funding is primarily based on boating access. It's not one of those things that if you just have the plant, or any plant, not just giant salvinia, as an aesthetic problem, that we go control that. We primarily focus, as per our funding, on boating access. But we are available, and we'll respond if there's a request or desire from your group or from Wes Weiss or Bobby Johnson. We're happy to help.
Okay, so how often does that request come to the state?
Well, it hasn't come very often up till now, and we only had, as far as I know, the one this year, and we responded. But we remain available, and as needed, we'll be happy to try to help.
Okay, and as I listened to your opening remarks, you basically said that spraying doesn't work with the giant salvinia.
No, I did not say that. What I meant to, and if I confused you, I apologize. Spraying on its own is not effective. Spraying in conjunction with other forms is much more effective. It's what we call an integrated management system. In other words, we use several measures to combine all benefits for a greater combined effect. Spraying on its own, no, it is not effective. We did prove that by trying it on its own.
Okay, so basically you said spraying and then fluctuating the water levels. And that's something we can't do on Cross Lake because once it goes, it's gone. And then the weevils. And then we have a problem with the weevils because if the weather gets cold, then those weevils die. So basically we're back to the spraying. And I've been a resident close to Cross Lake for the last 10 years. And in that 10-year time frame, the giant salvinia has basically taken over that area. Some of the residents in that area call me about they can't go out and fish, put the boats on the water because this salvinia and other things are just messing up their motors. And you know, we fashion Louisiana, in this part of Louisiana, is sportsman paradise. But then if you take the fishing part away, that only leaves hunting. And you got a lot of people who have invested a lot of money into boats that like to fish. And now they can't do all of that because they got this salvinia. And we just want to have a plan in place. I would like to have a plan in place to tell the residents that's on Cross Lake to say, hey, this is what we're doing. And the spraying, they know the spraying doesn't work alone by itself because we've seen it being sprayed a couple weeks, the top part dies, but the part that's under the water is still alive. So within a few days after that 2 weeks time frame, it's like it goes dormant and then it comes back. And when it comes back, it's come back double the effect. So they want to know what's being done on their part because, you know, like I talked to the guy from the city and he was saying pretty much about how it's funded through the city, it's through the water department or the fees off the water that people pay. And I mentioned to him that, you know, those people that stay in the parish also pay their water that comes off of the city because we pay a surcharge to a water district in order to buy the city of Shreveport water. And also those people are property owners and they pay property taxes. And a lot of taxes are being paid, but then they don't see the rewards of it because they bought this property, lakefront property, and now they can look out and with this giant salvinia so thick in some areas, it's like you can walk on the water. So just need to have a plan in place, and if the state can come up and help do some of these other things that would help out, that would alleviate some of this giant salvinia, I would appreciate it, and I know the residents of Caddo Parish would appreciate it as well.
I understand your concern. I bet you every one of you share that. Unfortunately, the reality is eradication of this plant is not going to happen, short of defined intervention. So if you can help in that regard, I'd appreciate it. But the fact is, we do have a plan. We have an aquatic vegetation control plan that I require of our managers every year. And we update that every year. I have one for 2013. I'll also make available to the clerk before I leave. And it describes those things that we do. It describes the integrated management system and our recommendations for every lake, not just Cross Lake. So we have those available for other lakes within Caddo Parish as well. But I brought one for Cross Lake because I knew we would probably be discussing it. I wish I could tell you that I was optimistic that we would be able to control it to where the residents and your constituents would have free use and unhindered by the salvinia right now. However, given the measures and the control tools that we have right now, that's not possible. I'm optimistic. There's research right now as far as using organic means, the salvinia itself, some components. I know that there's research in using that to control it. Other forms of biological controls. One thing that you mentioned was the weevils, and they do in many cases. If we get a good enough winter to knock back the salvinia, we also knock back the salvinia weevils. So year before last, we started a contract with Louisville, the Corps of Engineers in Louisville, that grow these weevils for us in greenhouses. And so starting last year, now we're able to start those stockings at least as early as April, as opposed to waiting until they generate throughout the summer. So we get a head start on it, despite the fact that a lot of the adults in the wild die. In doing so, we can get an extra 2 or 3 generations of these bugs. Now they help. They're like the herbicides. On their own, no, they're not going to control the plant. In conjunction with other measures, they help, but unfortunately the combination of all of those, at least at this stage, does not satisfy all the users or us either. In fact, I would go so far to say some of the tools we use are also objectionable to some folks. Water fluctuation in general. We hinder recreational access to the lakes. We get flack from that as well. But it's one of the things we have to do, at least in our mind, toward a greater good, which is trying to keep the lake from being covered with this terrible plant.
One other thing too, you talked about the water more.
I thought you were saying water hyacinth.
No,
Okay, I'm sorry.
I said water more. The more. We saw a video about a couple of weeks ago where he actually had like a P-roll that was kind of pushing this stuff toward the bigger boat so that he could actually chop it up.
Right.
There's some parts of Cross Lake, some of the pockets or arms, however you want to call them, that this salvinia has actually just moved over to. So to me and to some of the residents, it would be easier to be able to get that and put it into an area so that you can push it up and grind it, because before it gets out into the open water, and they just want to see some kind of plan put together.
I'm 100% with you, and I know in many areas mechanical harvesters are used, and with full knowledge from their biological staff that they're not as economically effective as some of the other measures they have. But they still implement those primarily for psychological value, just what you're talking about.
Right.
People want to see something.
They want to see something.
I know I value that, but at the same time, I also have to account for folks that want to make sure that I'm spending their money properly, and so it's difficult to defend some of those things.
Okay, so when that mower grinds it up, I know, but I'm not. When that mower grinds it up, does that regenerate itself or does it die?
The report that I'll submit to you, there were 2 occasions where we tested that. One was a very small supply of weeds, 3 tubs, and it did not. On the demonstration in April, we collected some of the material that he had ground. We put it in a controlled environment. Unfortunately, it did regenerate. So, contrary to the inventor, who obviously would like to sell this product or lease it, it does regenerate after he's processed.
Okay.
Commissioner Bowman?
That's okay. Commissioner LPJ pretty much answered all of them.
I done answered everybody.
Thank you. I do want to thank you for that report because it provided a lot of clarity that I wasn't privy to at first, and I kind of shared the same sentiments that Commissioner LPJ did about it. But you answered it, especially about the weevils. I know it's exactly with this cold snap that's coming up. It's going to be it's null and void, basically. So, but I really do appreciate you for the report.
Commissioner Cox?
I too want to say thank you for coming up. I have different opinions of this situation. We look at it, how's this going to affect us 10, 20 years down the road? We have a water source here that has this growing. And once you kill our water source for the city, and talking on behalf of the city, I guess right now, is that I don't want to wait till it's too late when that happens. we don't want to have to dredge the Caddo with millions of dollars. And if we don't do something, in my opinion, now to be proactive, we are looking at something that we can't afford down the road. You were saying spraying, technically, it masks, it'll kill the top, won't kill the bottom. That's when we do the height. Now, I'm not going to go over what Mr. Johnson's already said, but I can really tell you that to be proactive in this situation, we have to do something. Whether it be the gentleman who you were talking about, who has the mower, he refitted his equipment. He took it out at Cypress about a month ago. It was on the TV, where he's reconfigured it and also added where he'll do an area. He'll put a buoy in that area, and then he'll use his other boat to push it toward, and it basically cleared almost 2 acres until the rain ran it off. But you could look at that area and it was gone. Okay? That's what we want to get to, is gone. Now, when you also say money's the issue, well, since this has been an issue throughout the state, north and south, spraying has been the logical response. How much have we spent on spraying in 10 years and we still have this problem? You see what I'm saying?
Let me clarify. If I misspoke, I didn't mean to. Money is, we have an $8 million budget, and in many cases, we don't spend that. It's not the volume of money, it's the way we spend it. I've got to be able to be prudent and justify those expenditures, and that's why I'm saying that whatever we use, whatever, I have to be able to tell somebody, the folks who are paying that actually money, that I'm spending it wisely. And so I can't, from that vein, I can't justify spending something on something that's not effective or is not as economically viable as other tools I may already have. So certainly, as far with the water mower, it's great. I mean, the guy took the initiative. He built equipment. It looks good. I mean, obviously, it can clear some salvinia, but when compared to the other tools we have, it doesn't measure up. And so until it does, I'm not able to justify spending taxpayer dollars on it. So that's what I'm trying to say as far as the funding.
Well, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, because certain commissioners told me not to get off on this, is that you're saying that if it doesn't equal out to what you're getting now, but yet you can see a difference after we do different things. My question is, if the city of Shreveport and Caddo Parish Commission see fit to put a plan together, to work together, and then to attack this at Caddo and to see how it works, would the state be interested in coming in and financing that, or putting a part into that? Would your department back us on that? Because here's the situation we're at. I'm going back to what I said earlier. I do not want to wait till it's too late. I don't want to wait till property values go down. I don't want to wait till the point of no return, waiting on some scientist in a room 10 years down the road saying, I've got the answer on a brand new weevil. Because on weevils, and I've learned this, you can set out so many, only 10% live. That's a problem. Spraying only works halfway. That's a problem. My idea is attack it from every angle, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. Simply because we have to do something so down the road we're not dealt with something we can't get rid of. Financially or independently, we have to do something now. And that's why I asked you to come up here today. Excuse me. That's why I asked you to come up here today, and like I said, I appreciate you, and I'm going to stay in contact with you because I plan on getting with the city, Mr. Johnson, because we have an obligation to Caddo Parish residents to get this problem solved. And it's been here long enough, and what we're doing, in my opinion, is not working. And you can see me right now how this affects us, simply because we need to do something. And I understand, money for money. How much we spending on how much is your budget? You said $8 million?
Correct.
How much do we spend on spraying?
I don't know. It's a large portion of that. But to answer your question with regard to application of it on Cross Lake, we have a demonstration right now that says that it is less than effective. And so in that regard, the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries is not willing to fund that operation of it until we have something that shows that it is effective. Now, if your group would like to fund it as a demonstration, we'd be happy to participate, monitor, watch, however, and if such is the case and the equipment showed that it was effective and economic, then we would be happy to include that as one of the weapons. But as of right now, what we have to go on is the fact that it's demonstrated that it is not. And he has an open invitation, and if you guys would like to help him out with regard to that demonstration, we'll be happy to entertain that.
And I understand that. My thing is that we work together. His device can only go so far. That's why he came up with the other boat. That's fine, but we still have a problem up on the bank in some areas, because if he can get to certain areas and then he can't, well, then I expect y'all to come back and spread. That's why I say we need to use everything we can to get rid of this thing. You know, the weevils, the spray, the mower. If we just try to say, well, you know, he didn't do it the first time, well, okay, you may say that, and y'all may say that, but y'all are down there in Baton Rouge. And I know you live in Monroe, so I'm not going to, you know, Duck Dynasty, good show. My problem is, we're here. We have an obligation, and to my best for the next 2 years, I want to make sure we give our best to get rid of this thing, or to at least get it under control. If we don't, our commissioner clerk, he's got it outside in Oil City. Where's that?
Caddo Lake.
Caddo Lake? Up at his end. So it's everywhere. We don't want to be sportsman's paradise, like Mr. Johnson said, without a paradise. Wow. So I'm going to be in contact with you through email and try to work together on this, simply because with the Police Jury Association, I'm on the water board. I've already sent an email to Roland, our attorney, that we are going to have a meeting about this at our state convention. And I'm going to have an open invitation to you for that, simply because this is not a Caddo Parish problem, it's a state problem. The Weather Service came out today or yesterday. We're going to have a seasonally high temperature this winter. We're not going to have one. Of course, in Shreveport, northwest Louisiana, we only have 30 days of winter anyway. So we have to do something. We have to be proactive. And with your help, and I hope you will help us, we need to be proactive and not turn down anything, especially if it comes down to one person's opinion to our opinion over money and what's best for the residents, or what's beneficial as far as a price per price on an issue. Okay? So we have to do something because of our area. And I appreciate you coming out. And that's the last I'm going to say. Thank you, ma'am.
Commissioner Lynn?
Mr. Woods, do you know the genome, or does anyone know the genome of the Salvania?
I'm not familiar with that. I don't.
That's the genetic makeup. The genome is the entire strand of genetic spiral makeup of an organism, a human, a plant, or whatever. And so what they do is they do genetically modified organisms. Do you know of anybody who is successful in implementing a virus into the genome of the Salvania plant?
I don't.
Do you know of anybody working on it at all? Will you get back with me?
You have to.
Thank you. That's all. That's all, Madam President.
Commissioner Dominique?
I thought those were a little else, but. Mr. Wood, I have a few questions. Other states, Texas, Mississippi, Arkansas, is it gotten that bad there too? Are these other southern states having the problems or same problems? Do you know?
I do know that other states that have similar habitats to us are having a terrible problem with it. And the closest to us would be Florida. Texas has a lot of water, but most of those waters are not bayous and not flooded swamps like you have. They're open impoundments with a lot of wind flow and wave action, and therefore they have a natural control system for floating plants. They don't have the problem. Arkansas is obviously north of us and has weather-related inhibitors with cold weather.
Does the Florida, are they doing anything different or basically the same thing?
We share information, we share everything we can because it's such a problem. They're not doing anything at all that we're not doing. They may be using different contractors and the like, but no, we're using the same tools.
How much state money, or do you have any idea was spent in Caddo Parish this past year?
I do, and we have a breakdown of that. I'll be happy to make that available. I have it on a hard copy.
The weevils, I guess they will only survive and live and eat off of the giant salvinia. There's nothing else they eat, or?
The weevils eat two types of salvinia. There's a giant and a common, and they eat both of those, and as far as I know, nothing else. Part of the problem with biological controls is...
They're not going to get out of the lakes. I mean, they stay right there.
Correct.
That's where they live. Is the common salvinia, is that a problem too, or is it just the giant salvinia? Because that's what we always hear about, the giant.
Correct. Common salvinia is prevalent throughout Louisiana. It's not nearly as bad of a problem as giant salvinia is, though. So it's sporadic. It can be controlled very quickly with a cold snap. Unfortunately, the giant salvinia is not that way.
I wanted to thank you for coming here today. I do have one more question, but I appreciate your explanation on the water mower and everything that y'all done to try to at least give the guy the opportunity to show that he does have the ability to, I guess, be equivalent to what y'all were using. Have y'all thought about aerial spraying with a helicopter or something like that? I know that there's some issues probably with it getting on other plants and other trees, but you know, being from North Caddo Parish, I know exactly what you're talking about. Gets up around the cypress trees and especially along the banks. But is there aerial spraying? Has that been done?
We use it. We use aerial spraying.
I haven't seen it. Everything I've seen is the guys coming in the big boats or the I don't know, the airboats or something like that to spray. How is that? Is that working any better? I asked a guy from Cross Lake the other day. It seems like you could just do an aerial spray because the guys on the boats, when they spray, it only goes out 20 or 30 feet. I mean, it makes it very difficult to me to get around those cypress trees. And you know, when you have 4 or 5, or to get up into the small crooks and crannies of a inlet area.
It's actually it's expensive, but it's very cost effective. What we're able to do is treat several hundred acres at a time, and though we spend quite a deal of money on that, that's several hundred acres that's not able to multiply at the rate that giant salvinia can. So in effect, it works very well. The problem is what you mentioned, the cypress trees. It's not just that we would harm the cypress trees. We can wait until the wintertime and do that. We have in some areas. The problem is that the cypress trees obviously stick up above the water, and we're not able to get the spray equipment to the level that it could be effective to put the spray onto the plants like it should be. And so the chopper is up 40, 50 foot in the air applying the product, and that's not effective. We do use it in areas that we can put the applicator down on the deck where he can spray 7, 8, 10 foot off the water, and it works very well. And we use it when we can.
And does that, when you spray it, does that ultimately kill it, or does it just kind of sink to the bottom and grow back, or?
It is deceptive because this is a floating plant. If it's sprayed correctly, yes, it does kill it. Giant salvinia, though, is a plant that layers, and there are layers upon layers, and with several applications you can get to the bottom, but unless you can put the product onto the plant, it can't be effective.
I think that's all the questions I have. Thank you, Mr. Wood. Again, I appreciate you coming here today.
Commissioner Lynch?
That's not really what I want to ask you, but when you talk about the layers on layers, how far down does that go?
How deep will it layer? It can layer at least a foot or even more. I mean, in certain situations, it can be terribly bad. It's not just that wind would lap it up on and do that. It grows that way. So that some of the bottom plants aren't necessarily smothered and sink out. It just will continue to grow into a very thick layer.
Okay. So, and I missed some of it, but the other guy answered a lot of questions when he was here last time. So is it just the cold that basically kills it more than anything?
It's the best, yes. This is a plant from Brazil. It's a semi-tropical plant, and in its native habitat, it's not exposed to the cold weather we have, or we can have. When we get that cold weather, we get a blessing. We get good control, and we get a good winter. We start the summer out, the growing season out very light, and we're able to have much better control. When we don't get that, we have bad years.
So can you put some ice or something on it to make it cold? I mean, does it have to be?
It goes right back to being
I'm trying to see, can you make it, can you do something artificially to make it cold around it?
We could do that on a small scale, but unfortunately what we're talking about is areas of several thousand acres, and it's not practical.
Have y'all tried beer? Do they like beer?
Bud Light.
I'm just trying to see, Louisiana. I mean, have we tried like other things, I guess is what I'm saying. Do we know if they like beer? Do they want some?
Yes, ma'am, we have. We're working with LSU Extension Service on a variety of different herbicides and other types of things. Like I mentioned earlier, even components of the plant, stuff that I may have never would have thought about. We have folks under contract. We're working collectively with LSU and other groups throughout the Southeast to try to find something that can be effective. Unfortunately, we have to deal with the tools we have. We're also restricted with biological controls. We have to pass through the FDA and the EPA as far as trying to be able to assure that we're not going to have any residual or bycatch type of effects on non-target plants. Same way with the chemicals. For a product, for a herbicide to be approved through the EPA process costs millions of dollars to prove without fail that it is safe. And unfortunately, the market for those products is not nearly as lucrative as if a chemical company wanted to go into pharmaceutical sales or something where there were more profit. So there's not a lot of push from their side from research and development. So we are very limited in the tools we have available.
And it's probably going to be some spontaneous invention, probably, at some point.
We're optimistic that something will come. I hate to say that we're stuck with this forever. I'd prefer to say that we're going to have this problem until something else comes along that can help us.
Commissioner Cox, maybe we need to get the kids at Southwood.
On the bio team?
Yeah.
They could probably think of something quick.
Yeah, if you think of something quick, they could probably help us. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Escaday.
Just want to thank you for being here today. You said you're working with LSU, they're researching all aspects of this, the university. I heard that they were trying to create like a super weevil, genetically alter the weevil, make him like an Iron Man weevil or something, we feel a more bulletproof.
They have ice.
What Matthew Lynn
Ice resilient.
Matthew, Lynn said liquid nitrogen. Just spray it on there. That's probably not cost effective either. I'm just kind of curious. What around Monroe does Bayou Desire have that problem? Is there Salvinia in there?
There is now.
There is now.
Recently, it's been found there too. Black Bayou as well.
Darbone.
That's the.
It's in Claiborne, which is just upstream from Darbone.
Like
Darbone hasn't got it as bad as it's going to, I'm afraid.
Well, I appreciate all your efforts. Next to probably being the director of animal control in Caddo Parish, you've probably got the worst job in the state because it seems like you get beat up a lot. But I appreciate you being here and keep on with your effort. Thank you.
Yeah. You have some cards?
Sure.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Wilson.
My pleasure.
Thank you for some psychological value. Appreciate it. We need it.
Yeah, if you can get everything that you can to our administrator, if you got some cards, we'd appreciate it. We'll stay in touch with you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Woods. I appreciate it.
All right.
One last item, President Baker. One last item. We have Mr. Ken Ward was requested to give an update by our Natural Resource Committee Chair on a water issue. So we'd like to do that at time.
1.5 seconds.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. I will keep it real quick.
Good news,
You got a
guys.
swag on today.
Cut him down.
Thank y'all. Last time I was here and I spoke about this, we were kind of in some conundrums with CB&I, and y'all pretty much put me to task to go ahead and set out a schedule and hold them to that, which we have. And the first milestone has hit, which was to actually provide us a draft copy of Phase 6. It's here. It looks very good. It's a very good looking document, and the information that it's in it is very nice. They outline 5 different phases. Phase 2 and Phase 5 are the most realistic. I provided some of the information on the conclusions to a few of you that have already asked for that. We are going through the process of reviewing it. It is a draft, and our next milestone will be December the 4th. We'll send our comments along with Bozier's comments back to them for final drafting, and at that time we can start preparing for our public outreach. But I will say real quickly though that the plan is very good. It does outline though the fact that we definitely have a problem in the south, and that the cheapest way to go probably will be to look at building about a 10 million gallon a day water treatment facility in the south using the Red River, and probably we also have options in the north, which is utilizing the existing, which makes the most sense since we've already put $1.4 million of infrastructure in place to do that. And as well as you can see some of the numbers there. But the biggest thing that I saw was that keeping the water price to the potential residents as low as possible, and we're looking at possibly somewhere between 60 to 80, no more than $100 for the average person in Caddo Parish, which means good news. It is feasible, and we do have options, and so that we can continue to move forward. Bossier has their hands on this as well. They're looking at it, and we're moving forward to the December 4th outline. And once we finish out the review, we'll be able to come back and present a little more detail to you.
Let me just ask, Madam Chairman.
Commissioner Johnson, push button.
You kind of spoke real fast, like double time when you started
Well,
talking about to the
President
north.
Baker was really on you.
Well, call you Bobby Jindal. When you started talking about to the north, you went time double fast. So I'll kind of say what you were about to say about the north side.
About the north, if you know, we had 5 options, and of those options, each one of them we broke it into 3 different categories: the north, the middle, and the south. So we could really look at infrastructure, with respect to where they're at. The north, we had the biggest options, commissioners, option 2 and option 5 of the study. Option 2 is to build a water treatment facility in the north, off of the Red River, and supply. Option 5 talks about going back and utilizing what's there already. Blanchard, Oil City, Vivian, they're already in the water business. They want to maintain in the water business. The commission has already put $1.4 million into growing that infrastructure. No sense throwing that away. Let's go ahead and build off of that, which in the long term would keep water districts in business who want to be in business, and help them grow their business over into Bossier Parish and wherever else that they need to go. But at the same time, looking at where our most immediate need is, which is also focused, it shows it's actually in the south. And in the south, the more immediate need is there because the infrastructure, such as Blanchard, Oil City, and Vivian, isn't there. We need something in the south to help out there. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I just want to let the citizens know that
Yes.
North wasn't overlooked. So.
No, they're not. And, they've already, the infrastructure's there. They're already light years ahead of maintaining themselves. And for millions of dollars, under the $20 million range, the whole north West Louisiana corridor could be solved in their problem. The real dollars and cents comes to the south, where a water treatment facility in the neighborhood of about $35 to $50 million would need to be expended.
Commissioner Williams?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Ken, you spoke about the fees, and you have to think about making it affordable. We went through that with the Wellside Road project. We know this is a very poor area of town, but to make sure that it's affordable for everyone in the district, because everybody do need water. So you said something about $100.
That's the most extreme. The least of actually producing the water and getting it out to the closest is about $40. It's really about 38 and some change. Depends on where you're at in the district, or in the area, of how far we have to get the water to there, plus marking it up to whoever buys it. So I would assume that it's the cheapest is going to be about $40 to the most extreme about $100.
Well, I think we still in the fair market value compared with the city has done.
That's correct.
And taxing the people. My water bill went from, I used about $8, it went to $50-something.
Sure.
I don't use that much water.
Take showers.
You need a lot. That's your sewage that went up. You must flush a lot.
But I just want to be conscious of that we do have people that are on fixed income, and the average income here is $26,000. So be conscious of the type of people we're serving, a very diverse community. So we don't want to discriminate against anybody because they have wealth. We don't want the poor people to be at the mercy the wealth and those figures be figured on that. So let's think about those fees making more fair, that's all. Thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
I'd like to thank everyone from the Natural Resource Committee for working on this. It's a good first step, and it's really a giant step. We know now that it is doable, and it may be a little bit more than we want to afford, but at least we will have the water, and that will put us on the map. And now we have water and we have roads everywhere. I don't think there's any stopping this parish commission.
Watch it,
Go Tigers.
Mr. Escudé?
Hey, just tell them justice for all.
Justice for all.
Escudé,
Yes, ma'am.
you're on the board.
I just want to thank Ken for all his work, and we've been working on this almost 6 years.
Yeah, really.
And now we've at least determined it's feasible. You know, our greatest concern when we started out was one that the people in the rural area, the parishes in the undeveloped rural areas were either didn't have any water or were pretty soon not going to have any because of the aquifers drying up. Right. And, you know, of course, when you don't have water, really doesn't matter what it costs. And we found out at least, you know, up to this point that we can do this and provide it that won't bust the bank. And because people are really at the mercy of nature. I mean, if it's, you know, you got to have the water. So I appreciate all your work. I'm glad the study's progressing forward, and we have several options, and we've come a long way from 6 years ago with what we're trying to do with a $500 million figure in mind. And we were thinking to do what we need to do to something that is probably doable. So keep forth with the effort. Now we just got to go and try to identify some funding sources and beg. You know, good thing it's election year next year, so good time to be begging. You know, if they have anything to give, but I appreciate all your help, and you know,
good job.
Hopefully I'd like to get off the committee one day when we get this problem resolved. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next item.
Next, we move to President's report.
Oh, one thing I wanted to ask, what time?
12 o'clock.
12?
Noon on Wednesday, December 18th. Just let me know. We'll go ahead and know how many.
Just ask everybody now, let you know.
What do you mean?
Ask them now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got it marked down. Yes.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Who else going to the lunch with the superintendent?
Yeah, I'm going here. Okay, then pass my little sheet down. Pass my little sheet.
That's everybody from March 6th.
Next item.
President's report.
No.
Okay. Next, we move to adopt the minutes of the regular meeting held on November 7th.
Moved by Commissioner Dominic, second by Commissioner Lynn. Is there any discussion? If none, please vote. That passes. Next item.
Next, we move to public hearing on zoning ordinances. Zoning case P1313 in regard to ordinance number 5370.
Thank you, sir.
S&J Development of Shreveport LLC applicant, the Glenn Retirement System owner. Request to rezone property rezone property from RA1 Residential Agriculture District to R1D.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this ordinance? Anyone here to speak against? Next item, Mr. Clerk.
That concludes public hearing on zoning ordinance. We move to public hearing on ordinances. Ordinance number 5371 of 2013, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus and authorize the parish administrator designee to sell parish property.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Next item, Mr. Clerk.
That concludes public hearing on ordinances. Move to zoning ordinance for final passage. Zoning case P1313 in regard to ordinance number 5370.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Thibodeau.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cox. Is there any discussion? If none, please vote.
So you look, is it in the district?
That passes. Next item.
Ordinance for final passage, ordinance number 5371 of 2013.
So moved. Pass.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Lynn, second by the chair, Commissioner Williams. You want to speak?
Huh?
Please vote.
I made a mistake.
First time for everybody.
Next item.
Zoning ordinance for introduction. Zoning case P413 in regards to ordinance number 5372 of 2013, Metropolitan Planning Commission applicant. Request to amend sections 54660 and section 54820 of Chapter 54. Public hearing in this case will be December the 5th. Zoning case P-1513 in regards to ordinance number 5373 of 2013. 5700 block of Louisiana, Highway 1 North Market, Walmart real estate applicant. Request to rezone property located on the southeast corner of North Fork Boulevard and Highway 1. Request from RA Residential Agriculture to B3 Community Business District to permit a retail supercenter and fueling station. Zoning case and ordinance to be heard on January 23rd. Zoning case P-1713 in regards to ordinance number 5374. Lion Square Realty LLC applicant. Request to rezone property located on the south side of Greenwood Road from RA Residential Agriculture District to I-1 Light Industry to permit sales and services of industrial construction equipment. Public hearing and ordinance December the 5th. Next we move to ordinance by introduction. Ordinance number 5375 of 2013. An amendment to the Caddo Parish Personnel Policy which will require effective January 1, 2014, all parish employees hired must be residents of Caddo Parish effective January 1st, 2015. All parish employees, in order to be promoted to a manager, supervisor, or director position within the parish, must be residents of Caddo Parish. Next, we need to approve the minutes from November 18th.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Lynn, second
So
by
that great
Commissioner
birthday
Johnson.
on the 18th.
Is there any
Remember.
discussion?
Pass, man, let it
None,
go.
please vote.
History, man.
Next item, that passes.
Resolution number 73, 2013, urging and requesting Congress to oppose adoption of the Trans-Pacific Partnership Free Trade Agreement.
So move.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Epperson, second by Commissioner Bowman. Is there any discussion? If none, please vote.
Bad job.
That passes.
We have no new business.
Nope.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting, guys, when you get it. Meeting.
That's incredible. That's what you are.
Wait a minute.
Listen to that, Junior.